Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. I'm excited to have Jenn Bouchard joining me today. Hi Jenn.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks for having me.
And we've had Jenn before in the group as author for the day, so I'm excited to be interviewing you.
I'm excited to be
Mhm.
here.
So, a little bit about Jenn. Jenn's first debut novel was First Course, which we can see in the background there. It was published by Touchpoint Press in 2021 and has been the recipient of 14 awards, including two Eric Hofter Awards. Her second novel, Palms on the Cape, will be published by Touchpoint in 2023, and she's currently revising a romantic comedy titled Considering Us. A high school social studies teacher of 23 years, she lives in the Boston suburbs with her husband and two teenage children. She is an avid cook, volunteer for good causes, and devoted fan of New England sports. So, thanks again, Jenn, for joining us.
Thanks, Jackie.
Just wondering, do you want to start off by telling us a bit about First Course?
Sure. And I'm really excited to share that it will be released in audiobook on May 9th.
Oh,
So
really? That's great. Yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
who loves, I know a lot of people love listening to audiobooks now,
Mm.
and Tantor Audio is doing it. They do a great job. I've got a wonderful narrator named Caroline Keeler. She's amazing. So I'm really excited about it. I think
Mm.
she'll really bring it to life. The first course is set in Maine, and that was one of the most fun parts of being author for the day with you was interacting with people all over the world about Maine. And some people had been to Maine, some people hadn't, but Maine is a really beautiful state. It's a place that I fell in love with. I went to college there, and I knew that my first book was going to be set there. And it really centers around the main character, Janie Whitman, is in her mid-20s. She's had a series of just really terrible things happen to her and her family, and she and her older sister, Alyssa, come back to their family's beach house on the coast of Maine and try to figure out their next steps.
Mm.
There's a lot of really good food. Like you said, I'm an avid cook, and that really is what Janie kind of focuses on as a way to move forward. I'm a big fan of Nora Ephron. Heartburn was a huge influence for me with this book. And so I really try to draw upon, using food as a means for dealing with life, but also for giving us a lot of laughs. So even though there are some
Mm.
heavier subjects in the book, there is a lot of humor as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I have to say, I just finished reading First Course and really liked how like the food was intertwined with it all, and really loved that.
Thank you.
So we've got a few people watching. Just wanted to say to the ones watching, if you do have any questions for Jenn, please type them in comments and I can read them out. Kim, she says that she loves audiobooks and she thinks they're great for different situations. Just wanted to share I'm interested to know when you listen to audiobooks. I like try and read audiobooks when I can't hold a book in my hand. So like when I'm driving, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Also if I'm on the rare occasions when I'm cleaning my house, I try and listen to an audiobook as well to at least do something that I think is productive as well as the cleaning. What about you?
I think, when I'm, taking a walk, or if I'm cooking and don't, something I've made before and I don't need to concentrate that much on what I'm
Mm.
doing, it's really nice to have that in the background. My sister listens almost exclusively to audiobooks now. She really isn't reading as much, just because she's driving a lot these days.
Mm.
And so she really likes it. My friend Stephanie, who is my beta reader, she reads everything I write. She's an avid runner. She's a marathon runner, and she listens to audiobooks all the
Mm.
time. So I think it really, like you're saying, it really does appeal to a lot of people who are in
Mm.
situations where they can't pick up a book or a
Mm.
Kindle.
Yeah. And do you want to tell us a bit more about First Course? What was the first idea you had? Sorry, my puppy's
Oh,
jumping up to get me.
adorable. Oh my goodness. My book coming out later this year has a dog in it. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
How
it was a lot of
exciting.
fun to do that. So I I really stumbled upon this a little later than a lot of writers. I had just finished a major volunteer position. I was the president of my college's alumni association for 2 years. And when I was done with that, I was sort of looking around like, I need to figure something else out for me. I mean, I was certainly busy. I have 2 young children. I teach, but I really wanted that extra thing for myself. And we're on the beach late summer. Gosh, this was probably 2014. And I said to my husband, I think I'm going to try to write a novel. And he's like, okay. So what I did is I started listening to a lot of authors tell their own stories about how they became published. I started going to some author events when I could. When I couldn't, I would read interviews with authors. And now, of course, there's so many ways just like this for us to hear from authors. But that helped me to get the sense of what this looked like. In the meantime, I started brainstorming, and I knew that there would be the food element. I knew that would be the center focus in so many ways. Like I said, heartburn was a big influence, and I knew that I wanted to set it on the coast in Maine. And I just sort of went from there, and I had no idea what I was doing. It took me 2.5 years to write the first draft. It's not that long of a book either, but it's a lot easier now.
Well, you must have done something good, because I think I said in the intro you've won 14 awards.
It's been well received. I feel very grateful.
And so when you decided you were going to write it, how did you go about getting it published?
So I did try to find an agent for about 10 months, and I had a lot of close calls. There were a number of agents who said this was a tough one for me to decide on, and I'm going to have to pass. So ultimately, I started reading the deals in Publishers Marketplace online every day, and started to see that there were a number of small presses that didn't require agents, and Touchpoint was making a number of deals. And so I reached out to them, and they ultimately asked for the manuscript and then offered me a contract.
Yeah, no, that's great. And do you want to tell us a bit about, you've got a new book out this year. Could you tell us a little bit about it and when we could expect to see it?
So it was announced that it was going to be summer. I'm waiting on an exact date, so I am following up on that a little bit next week. The publishing industry, as you know, there have been some delays of late, so I'm hoping for some time in 2023. But it's called Palms in the Cape. This one is set on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. There's a beach called Mayflower Beach on the bay side of Cape Cod that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite places ever. And so I decided that was going to be the setting of the book. It centers around a character named Rachel Sinclair. She is on the verge of turning 40. She owns a beach bar. She's a trained cook as well. And everything is going fine for her. She has a very nice group of people she has surrounded herself with. And one day a group of people come into the bar and everything changes from that point on.
Sounds intriguing. I'll be looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Kim wonders what genres you like to read, and I'm wondering if there might have been something you've read lately you'd like to recommend to us.
Well, it's so funny. I saw that Stacey Greason is going to be an author for the day very soon, and I'm reading her book right now, All the Girls in Town. It's so good. So I definitely recommend everyone reads that. She's also with Touchpoint, so that's how we got to know each other. I really enjoy women's fiction. I enjoy contemporary romances. Any kind of beach read. I really like Ellen Hildebrand, Jennifer Weiner, but I've gotten to know so many other authors over my publishing journey that I'm really enjoying reading their books.
Yeah, I love being introduced to new authors. It's always great to find a new author.
Absolutely.
Could you tell us what you hope readers will love about your books?
I think that I always want, for the readers who are familiar with coastal New England, I think they like seeing familiar places. And for those who aren't familiar with it, I think it's always fun to travel through a book. I
Yeah,
always
totally
enjoy,
agree with that. Yeah.
absolutely. So I always enjoy reading about new places I've never been, places I'd like to go to. I also hope that, I tend to write a lot about second acts in life. What do you do when you need to make a big change? I seem to gravitate towards that kind of writing. I always want there to be a good ending, a happy ending where everyone's found where they need to go.
Yeah, yeah. And Kim's got another good question. She says books are a great way to experience new places. She wonders if you've read any Australian authors.
Gosh, don't I don't think I have to think about that one
Yeah, you'll
because
have to check
I'm
out
trying to
some of
remember
the.
who is in us,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who is and who isn't. But I am really interested in Australia. My cousin, actually, I have a cousin who lives in Sydney, and
Okay.
And his sons, and one of his sons is an unbelievable photographer, and his name is Gus Wilder, and he takes the most incredible photographs of Australia. And so I feel like I've learned so much
From the photo.
through his
Yeah.
photography.
Yeah. You'll have to check out some Australian authors to take you to visit Australia in the
Definitely.
books. Yeah. What have you found the most difficult part of your writing process?
It's time. It's definitely time. I feel like a lot of us say that. Like I said, I do teach full time. I have two teenagers who are wonderful and do need me some of the time as well. And so I do like to cook for them, and so that also takes time. And so I do have to schedule writing like a doctor's appointment.
Yeah. So how do you do that? Do you try
I
and
look at the week ahead. We have this big, huge wall calendar and dry erase markers and all that. And I look at the week and I say, okay, here's where I can fit it in. And I've got this next week of school we have off for a break, and I am revising my third book. And so I'm going to look at this week and figure out, when I can take those times and have everyone leave me alone.
And cooking's obviously a big part of your life and in
It
your
is.
book as well. Is there any favourite recipes that you would like to tell us about?
So, in first course, there are these biscuits that Janie makes, and the recipe is on my website. So if anyone is looking for a really fantastic biscuit recipe, they are very popular. I've given out the recipe to so many people at book events. I give out cards with it, but you can get it on my website.
Yeah.
And so people they actually made them last night. My kids love them. So check out Janie's biscuits. For my next book, Palms in the Cage, there is an onion ring recipe that I'm going to be distributing. And so that, if anyone is interested in that, I will be posting that probably later on in the year when the book is released. So I think that if I can find kind of a signature recipe from each
book, yeah,
it'd be fun.
Yeah, no, I'll be looking out for that recipe for the biscuits for sure. Could you tell us when you finish writing a book, is there anything you do special to celebrate?
I do. I always open a bottle of really nice champagne.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I do that. I like to celebrate a lot. I think we have to celebrate, every victory in this industry, because there are definitely some disappointments and things that don't go right. And so celebrating the good things as they happen. So I definitely enjoyed a nice glass of champagne when the draft was done. When I got my last book contract, all those sorts of things. For the 1 year anniversary of first course, I made a big pink cake.
Oh,
and
nice.
So that was nice.
Yeah. And Kim says she loves baking and reading cookbooks.
Yes,
Mhm.
I I really love cookbooks. I have
Mm,
tons of them. Ina Garten is my favorite. Barefoot Contessa is my favorite cookbook author, and she's really inspired me a lot. I wonder, is she popular in Australia?
well, I haven't heard of her, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So she's very popular in the United States. Her name is Ina
Mm,
Garten, and she is known as the Barefoot Contessa. So,
okay.
yeah, so she's got a website with a lot of really good recipes too,
Okay.
barefootcontessa.com.
I'll have to look her up as well. And do you have any writing rituals?
So I usually listen to music. What that is kind of varies depending on what I'm writing. If I'm drafting, if I'm editing, I sort of let my mood take me where I want to go with that.
Mm,
Um, I usually, when I'm editing, I like to use brightly colored pens. I think we all kind of have our things that we
mm,
like to do. And so it really depends. In the summertime, a lot of times, if it's not too hot, I'll sit outside and write. I do enjoy being outside. Before COVID, I used to do a lot of writing in public places, and then I had to get used to writing at home, which was a tough adjustment.
mm,
But now I feel like I can write most places, which is nice. I can be a little
yeah.
bit more flexible.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. And well, thanks so much for chatting with me. It's been great talking to you, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about new books from you.
I can't wait to be able to come back and talk about those again. I really
Mm,
appreciate the chance to get to talk to you today.
yeah, thank you, and thanks for those who joined in with questions.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye everyone.
Bye.